Hi, you're watching Dog Ear Musings, and I'm Monica. And today I'm doing a book review of the graphic novel by Deena Mohamed, Shubeik Lubeik, or its translated title, As You Wish. The reason that I was drawn to this book was in looking for the best graphic novels of 2023. This was a book that just kept on popping up in everybody's list. And by everybody, I mean lists like New York Times, Kirkus. There were just so many reputable book review sites that said that this was a graphic novel that people should pick up. I knew that I needed to get my hands on it. So who is Deena Mohamed? Deena Mohamed is a graphic illustrator, graphic novel artist, and designer. And she is kind of known for, when she was 18, she created this webcomic that went essentially viral. She is known for her writing to have themes that reflect on shedding light, dispelling Islamophobia. She reflects on themes of activism and feminism, all with a Arabic lens. What I thought was really interesting in her interviews, specifically an interview that she did with NPR that kind of talks about Shubeik Lubeik and its origins, was Mohamed, when she was little, used to think about the 3 wishes that she would do, like the perfect combinations of wishes that she would make to kind of divert the trickiness that usually happens when someone does make a wish on a genie bottle.
I felt like I had to make a smart wish, and I definitely wasted a lot of time. And turns out not all people think like that.
No.
There's that trope that you make a wish from a genie and then things get turned into chaos. And I guess when she was growing up, she would play this mind game to come up with the perfect combination where she would outwit the genie. Now, this ties in perfectly with the book Shubeik Lubeik, which is a book that exists in the world where wishes are kind of policied. There is a mandate on who gets to make wishes because genies and the bottles that they live in exist, and people kind of make these wishes, and there are repercussions that happen from them. Now, this book follows a couple of characters who all live in the same town, and how this one wish-making stall and the wishes that they're able to receive create these cataclysmic events and the events that follow from the choices that they make. It's a very, just interesting premise, and Mohamed creates a very complex and comprehensive world. So what are the cons? Now, there's a reason why this book was kind of listed as one of the best of 2023. So there weren't too many cons that I could think of when reading this book, but there were 2 things that kind of took me out of reading it a little bit. And this is me just nitpicking, so that if there are people who might see some drawbacks, they might not feel alone in them. This is a heavy book. So if you're somebody who has trouble lifting up books that are heavy, this is one that is not for the weak of palmed. This is a thick graphic novel. It is one that needs some heavy assistance. I don't know where I'm going with this, but it's just a thick book. You'll get through it pretty quick as it's a graphic novel, but it's just kind of cumbersome to carry around in a bag. It's not the funnest to read in bed. It's definitely a awkward book to carry around.
3 ways to know you're not lifting heavy enough.
But it's well worth it. Another con, or something that took me out of the book, was just how dense of world building this book went into. Now, Mohammed has created a whole world filled with all sorts of rules and regulations, and this is explained to a T in graphs and in infomercials throughout the book. And for some who might not be interested in world building, this could kind of be a little cumbersome to read. Now, if you are someone who loves high fantasy and loves world building, this is not a con, but this is a pro. And I also listed this as a pro because the way that Mohammed creates her worlds and the different intricacies of the policies and the legal systems, they're obviously built in reality, but the way that she also kind of embeds the magic within the system is very thoughtful and nuanced, and also kind of embedded in dark humor and satire as well. It's a very interesting and thought out way of world building. And this also ties in with another strength that I had of her writing, in how she connects themes of class, health, faith, and global trade, all to create a narrative that isn't on the nose, but is one that is very important when thinking about anti-nationalistic thought. I don't know. It's just a very relevant and important book. And I don't know if I'm saying anything new by saying that, but I mean, clearly there have been lists that have said that Mohammed's work is important just from last year. But I guess I would just like to be a voice in the echo chamber that reminds people in 2024 that this is still a book that needs to be picked up, and this is still a book that needs to be read. And another thing that I would mention is this is a book that has an important message that also does it in a way that is humorous. If you're someone who likes satire, this is a fun look at an exercise in satire that actually works. Now, I think satire can be done very poorly. I think that Mohammed creates a combination in writing that this actually works very well. Now, I could go in depth on what makes satire work, but I don't want to get attacked by the annoying dudes on YouTube who will come at me from the depths of comedy core, so I won't do that. But we'll leave that here, that if you're interested in comedy and satire, pick up a Deena Mohamed book or read her webcomics. Now, what did I take away from this book? This is an exercise that I'm trying to do with a lot of the books that I read, because I feel like I've been reading a lot and then like putting it away and then like leaving it to be gone forever in my brain. Now, I don't think that you need to take away everything from anything that you read. Books can be kind of done and read just casually, but I think in my exploration of reading this year and reading with kind of purpose and just trying to spend more time and more thought on the books I read so that they don't just like vanish into the ether, I wanted to kind of think about what my main takeaway was from reading this book. And I guess I am excited to read more books that expand my views on international trade from an international lens. I feel like when I've thought about like just buying things, I am just very much stuck in my own American views of things come here, things leave here, it's invisible, and I guess I'm a part of society and consume a lot of things. I mean, that's part of being on YouTube, is we talk about hauls, we talk about unhauls, we talk about books we read. All of YouTube is consumption. And I guess in thinking about the books I consume, this was a very interesting exploration in expanding just how international I could be more of. I don't know if that made any sense, but I think more of an international lens. That's what I'm looking for in my next reads. That's been my review for Shubeik Lubeik, and I'm Monica. You've been watching Dog-Eared Musings. Happy reading.